Stop. Put down your phone. Look around you. Do you see them? The walking dead. The human zombies shuffling through life with glazed eyes, bent necks, and severed souls. They're everywhere. At dinner tables, ignoring their families. In cars, texting at red lights. In meetings, scrolling through feeds. You think you're choosing what to consume, but the consumption is consuming you. Every like is a hit of digital heroin designed to keep you coming back for more. You're not using technology. Technology is using you as a biological data harvesting unit optimized for profit extraction. You believe you're living your life, but an algorithm is living your life for you. In bed, bathing in blue light until their last conscious moment. But here's the part that will shatter your reality. You are one of them. It's in your relationships, it's in your soul. And the most terrifying part, you're defending the system that's destroying you. Right now, your brain is being systematically rewired by forces that understand your neurological weaknesses better than you understand your own thoughts. Every scroll is a vote for your own enslavement. Every notification is a leash around your consciousness. Are you ready to reclaim your mind, your soul, your life? Nietzsche saw this coming 150 years ago. He predicted a world where humans would voluntarily lobotomize themselves, where they would trade their souls for comfort, where they would become what he called the last man, a creature so domesticated, so diminished, so spiritually dead that it mistakes its prison for paradise. Once you understand this, everything changes. You are the last man, and this might be your last chance to become human again. The crisis isn't coming, it's here. It's in your pocket, it's in your brain. But in this moment of recognition, in this instant of seeing the horror clearly, your resurrection begins. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. Are you ready to see how deep the rabbit hole goes? Are you ready to discover what they don't want you to know? Because once you see this, you can never unsee it. Once you know this, you can never unknow it. Forever. Your brain is being murdered, not metaphorically, literally. Every time you pick up your phone, 40 different neurotransmitters fire in patterns designed by teams of neuroscientists, behavioral economists, and addiction specialists working for trillion-dollar corporations. They've mapped your brain better than you know your own thoughts. They've hacked your reward system more efficiently than any drug dealer in history. You think you're checking social media, but social media is checking you. Every click, every scroll, every pause is being monitored, measured, and monetized. Your attention is being sliced into microseconds and sold to the highest bidder. Your thoughts are being influenced by algorithms that know what you want before you know what you want. The average person now has an attention span of 8 seconds. 8 seconds, that's shorter than a goldfish. You've been neurologically downgraded to a level below aquatic life. Your capacity for deep thought, sustained concentration, and authentic reflection is being systematically eliminated. But here's the part that will destroy your remaining illusions. This isn't an accident. This isn't a side effect. This is the intended outcome. Tech executives send their own children to schools that ban technology. The people who designed these platforms don't let their own kids use them. They know exactly what they've created, and they're protecting their families from it while feeding it to yours. You're not a customer, you're the product. You're not a user, you're the used. You're not consuming content, content is consuming you. Every piece of free content you consume is paid for with fragments of your consciousness, pieces of your soul, moments of your irreplaceable life. Your brain is being rewired for addiction, not satisfaction. For seeking, not finding. For wanting, not having. For scrolling, not living. You're trapped in an endless cycle of digital stimulation that promises everything and delivers nothing. The dopamine hit from your phone is identical to the dopamine hit from cocaine. The withdrawal symptoms are identical. The compulsive behavior is identical. The inability to stop despite knowing it's harmful is identical. You're not just addicted to your phone, you're addicted to the destruction of your own consciousness. But the real horror isn't what this does to your brain, it's what it does to your soul. You're losing your capacity for solitude, for silence, for the deep inner work that creates wisdom, meaning, and authentic selfhood. You're becoming incapable of being alone with your own thoughts because your thoughts have been colonized by external noise. You can't think deeply because deep thinking requires sustained attention. You can't feel deeply because deep feeling requires present moment awareness. You can't love deeply because deep love requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires the courage to be uncomfortable. All of these higher order human capacities are being systematically eliminated. You're being reduced to a biological reaction machine, optimized for consumption and compliance, incapable of the very mental processes that make you human. The crisis you can't see is the crisis of human consciousness itself. You're not just losing your mind, you're losing your capacity to know that you're losing your mind. The very cognitive functions you would need to recognize this crisis are the same functions being destroyed.
If you're feeling that shift in perspective happening right now, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support.
But the neurological hijacking is just the beginning. What's happening to your brain is nothing compared to what's happening to your soul. You're not just losing your mind, you're losing your entire identity, your authentic self, your reason for existing. Social media has achieved something unprecedented in human history: the complete murder of authentic identity. You no longer know who you are based on your inner experience, your values, your authentic desires. You know who you are based on external validation, algorithmic feedback, and social comparison. Your self-worth is measured in likes. Your identity is curated rather than authentic. Your personality is performed rather than lived. You've become a character in your own life story, playing a role designed to generate engagement rather than expressing your genuine self. But here's the part that will annihilate your remaining illusions. This performed identity is becoming your real identity. The mask is fusing with your face. The character is consuming the actor. The simulation is replacing the reality. You're no longer living your life. You're documenting your life. You're no longer having experiences. You're creating content. You're no longer forming relationships. You're building your brand. You're no longer seeking meaning. You're optimizing for engagement. Every authentic thought is filtered through the question, how will this look online? Every genuine emotion is modified by the concern, is this appropriate to share? Every real moment is contaminated by the compulsion, I need to post this. Your internal monologue has been replaced by external dialogue. Your private thoughts have been colonized by public opinions. Your authentic self has been murdered by your digital self. The algorithms don't just show you content, they shape your personality. They don't just reflect your interests, they create your interests. They don't just amplify your voice, they determine what you have to say. You think you're choosing what to consume, but the consumption is choosing who you become. Every piece of content you engage with sends signals about who you are, and the algorithm feeds you more content to reinforce those signals. You're trapped in a feedback loop where your digital behavior shapes your recommendations shape your behavior, and your behavior shapes your identity. You're becoming a reflection of your own data profile. Your personality is being reverse engineered from your digital footprint. Your desires are being manufactured by your consumption patterns. Your soul is being constructed by engagement metrics. The crisis you can't see is the crisis of authenticity itself. You've lost the ability to distinguish between who you are and who you appear to be, between what you want and what you're told to want, between your authentic desires and your algorithmic recommendations. You no longer have thoughts, you have content. You no longer have emotions, You have reactions. You no longer have relationships. You have connections. You no longer have experiences. You have posts. You no longer have a life. You have a feed. But the most devastating part isn't that you're losing your identity. It's that you're losing your capacity to mourn the loss. You can't grieve for an authentic self you can't remember. You can't fight for a life you can't imagine. You can't escape a prison you can't distinguish from freedom. The most diabolical weapon in this war against human consciousness isn't the destruction of your individual mind, it's the annihilation of human connection itself. You're living through the greatest loneliness epidemic in human history, surrounded by more connections than ever before. This isn't a contradiction, it's the intended outcome. True intimacy requires vulnerability, presence, and emotional risk. Digital connection requires none of these. It offers the simulation of intimacy without the substance, the appearance of community without the commitment, the feeling of belonging without the soul. You're drowning in shallow connections while starving for deep ones. You have thousands of followers, but no one who truly knows you. You receive constant validation but feel perpetually empty. You're always communicating but never truly connecting. Every real relationship in your life is competing with dopamine-optimized, friction-free, instantly gratifying pseudo-relationships. Why have a difficult conversation with your partner when you can get immediate validation from strangers? Why invest in deep friendships when you can get instant connection from followers? Why develop emotional intimacy when you can get synthetic intimacy from algorithms? Your capacity for real relationship is being systematically destroyed. Your tolerance for the messiness, complexity, and difficulty of authentic human connection is being replaced by an addiction to the cleanliness, simplicity, and ease of digital interaction. You're losing your ability to be alone with yourself. Solitude, the foundation of all authentic thought, creativity, and self-knowledge, has become intolerable. You reach for your phone the moment you're alone, not because you need to communicate, but because you can't bear to be present with your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. The silence that once allowed for reflection, contemplation, and inner dialogue has been filled with noise, distraction, and external stimulation. You've become afraid of your own mind, uncomfortable with your own company, intolerant of your own thoughts. But here's the most terrifying part. This weaponization of loneliness is self-perpetuating. The more you use digital platforms to avoid loneliness, the more lonely you become. The more you seek connection online, the less capable you become of connecting offline. The more you try to fill the emptiness with content, the emptier you become. You're trapped in a cycle where the cure is creating the disease, where the solution is generating the problem, where the medicine is producing the poison. Children are losing the ability to read facial expressions. Teenagers are choosing suicide over conversation. Adults are choosing screens over their own children. Families are choosing isolation over interaction. Humanity is choosing death over life. The crisis you can't see is the crisis of human connection itself. You're not just losing your ability to connect with others. You're losing your ability to connect with yourself. You're not just becoming socially isolated. You're becoming existentially isolated from your own authentic experience. But in this moment of absolute recognition, in this instant of seeing the horror with complete clarity, your liberation begins. Not through gradual adjustment or gentle modification, but through radical discontinuity. Not through managing your digital consumption, but through reclaiming your consciousness. Not through fixing the system, but through transcending it entirely. This is not self-help. This is self-resurrection. This is not improvement. This is revolution. This is not adjustment. This is transformation. The first step is the most radical. you must become willing to be bored. Boredom is not emptiness, it's the space where creativity lives. It's not absence, it's the presence of your authentic self. It's not a problem to be solved, it's a doorway to be entered. When you stop filling every moment with stimulation, when you stop avoiding every uncomfortable emotion, when you stop escaping every difficult thought, you create space for something unprecedented, your own authentic experience. The second step is equally radical. You must become willing to be alone. Not just physically alone, but psychologically alone. Not just disconnected from others, but connected to yourself. Not just isolated from external stimulation, but intimate with internal experience. True solitude is not loneliness, it's the opposite of loneliness. It's the capacity to be fully present with yourself, to enjoy your own company, to find meaning in your own thoughts and feelings. It's the foundation of all authentic relationship, all genuine creativity, all real wisdom. The third step is the most challenging. You must become willing to be misunderstood. In a world optimized for viral content, your authentic thoughts will seem strange. In a culture addicted to stimulation, your depth will seem boring. In a society obsessed with performance, your authenticity will seem naive. But this misunderstanding is not a bug, it's a feature. It's proof that you're escaping the system, that you're reclaiming your consciousness, that you're becoming real in a world of simulation. When you stop performing for algorithms, you start living for yourself. When you stop optimizing for engagement, you start optimizing for authenticity. When you stop measuring your worth by external metrics, you start discovering your actual value. The technology doesn't disappear, you transcend it. The platforms don't vanish, you become immune to their manipulation. The system doesn't change, you evolve beyond its influence. You become what Nietzsche called the overman, not superior to others, but superior to your own previous limitations. Not above humanity, but fully human in a world of partial humans. Not disconnected from others, but connected to yourself first, so that your connections with others become authentic rather than desperate. This is not a return to the past. It's an evolution toward the future, not a rejection of technology. It's a mastery of technology, not an escape from the modern world. It's a transcendence of its limitations. You become someone who uses technology rather than being used by it. Someone who creates content rather than consuming it. Someone who generates meaning rather than seeking it. Someone who lives authentically rather than performing constantly. The crisis you couldn't see becomes the opportunity you can't ignore. The forces that were destroying your consciousness become the resistance that strengthens your consciousness. The challenges that were overwhelming you become the crucible that forges your authentic self. You stand at the precipice of two possible futures. In one, you continue down the path of digital domestication, neurological enslavement, and psychological death. You become increasingly dependent on external validation, increasingly incapable of authentic thought, increasingly disconnected from your own experience until you become a ghost in your own life. In the other, you choose the path of conscious resistance, authentic living, and psychological sovereignty. You reclaim your attention, your identity, your capacity for deep thought and genuine connection. You become fully alive in a world of the walking dead. This choice cannot be made gradually. It cannot be made partially. It cannot be made tomorrow. It must be made now, in this moment, with the full force of your remaining consciousness. The crisis you can't see is the crisis of human consciousness itself. The battle for your mind, your identity, your soul. The war between authentic humanity and synthetic simulation. The choice between consciousness and content, between depth and stimulation, between being and seeming. Your survival depends on this choice, not just your individual survival, but the survival of human consciousness itself. Every person who chooses authenticity over performance, depth over stimulation, consciousness over content is a victory for humanity against the forces of digital dehumanization. The algorithms are watching, the platforms are listening, the system is monitoring. But there's still time to choose, there's still space to think, there's still a chance to be human. What will you choose? The crisis is here, the moment is now, the choice is yours. Your consciousness and the consciousness of our entire species depends on it. If you're ready to break free from digital enslavement, if you're ready to reclaim your mind, your soul, your life, write "I break free" in the comments. Let's see how many people are ready to choose consciousness over content, authenticity over algorithms, life over death. Share this video with someone who needs to see this. Save someone's consciousness. Save someone's soul. The war for human consciousness has begun. The future of humanity is at stake. Which side are you on?